One fantastic jungle or offlane pick in today's meta is Grux. He has everything that you would ever want in a jungler. Great crowd control, great damage burst, and sustain burst as well, with great deck options. He is absolutely fantastic, and in this hero deck and guide, I'm hopefully going to try to give that all to you. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a hero deck and guide. I am Sylphin. We have Grux here, my deck, my meta deck, hopefully for version 40.5, called Hemorrhage Clubs. So this deck here, great early game damage that transitions into utility and tank. In the late game, you are a frontline brawler, and that's what this is for. Of course, the Centurion to give you that health as fulfill your tanky role. In the early game, you start off with your Sage's Sylphin. You do have a Guardian's Ward as your dummy ward. Into your Sage's Ward, into a Whirling Wand, into a Blood-Soaked without these upgrades for Raptors, and then an Adamant Edge to start your transition into tanky utility. In the mid game, you get the greater health upgrades on an upgraded Guardian's Ward first, before getting some greater guards on your Blood-Soaked armor. Then you get your Thick Blood and Stasis Gem whenever you need to provide that utility against the enemy team with Thick Blood, and also that sustainability with Stasis Gem. Very, very meta card right now. End game, you transition into the Thermobond or Tuned Barrier when needed, especially once you get that health and a few greater guards. Next, you get a Trader's Touch and a Tainted Magic when your tank has been complete with all of the barrier, so that you can get great damage value from these two cards that we'll talk about later. Some optional cards here. The Guardian's Ward is your dummy ward, like we said. The Tuned Barrier is optional against Thermobond if there's no knock-up stuns and roots. And the Health Potion and Healer tokens are actually for the off lane, which Grux does work very well in. Here in the early game on Grux, you start over on the right side of your white camps and work your way counterclockwise. The first ability you get is called Double Pain. What Double Pain does is it's a melee cleave attacking ability that deals ability damage and applies a bleed stack to all enemies. Each stack of bleed drains 1% of the target's health over 5 seconds. So the ability damage is 60 to 100 with a power scaling of 0.6. It can deal some good damage. The mana cost is low at 25. The cooldown is 5 seconds, so you can use this all the time. What you also want to do with Double Pain is actually animation cancel your basic attack. As soon as the damage is applied from your basic attack, use your Double Pain so you can get another good, quick basic attack off. Great option here in the early game to clear these camps and just to have good burst damage as well. Great ability. The next ability that we get is his Q, his Smash and Grab, but you can also go for his E ability, Charge, in order to get to the next camp a bit quicker. Maybe that's something I could have done here to optimize my jungle rotation. As you can see though, you don't need it as I get to the river camp by the 3-minute mark, and I'm hero level 3. Perfect. Just on time. Look at that. Wonders done. The Charge is his E ability, and that charges forward, dealing ability damage to all enemies in his path. You don't use it for that ability damage, but you do use it to get to and from places. You can escape with it, and you can also engage with it. Ability damage 40 to 160, power scaling 0.25, really doesn't do much. The mana cost is 40, the charge distance is 1200, and the cooldown is 16 to 10 seconds. Again, just a really nice part of his kit that can do a lot. You can escape, close a gap, just really nice ability for Grux. The last ability that you saw on that Gideon was a Smash and Grab, a very key ability for Grux. It's called Smash and Grab. It's a wedge AoE that pulls all enemy units towards Grux and deals ability damage. The ability damage 75 to 210, power scaling at 0.3. It just adds to his overall rotation and burst that can be fairly substantial. The mana cost is 70 to 85. It's significant here in the early game. You can't be using it too often. Cooldown is 14. Stun duration is 0.75 seconds, and the range is 700. You'll see here that it's really not that bad when you use it. Well, it's really consistent. You can really use this well to great effect. Now his ultimate is another very, very powerful ability called Warlord's Challenge. Grux stuns all nearby enemies for 0.5 seconds and gains bleed and bonus attack damage bonus for 8 seconds. So whenever you basic attack, after you've used your ultimate for 8 seconds, you deal bonus 25 to 75 damage per swing. The cooldown is 90 to 50 seconds. You can use it quite often in the late game. With a mana cost 75, again, it's something you gotta consider, but not too bad. And the bleed stacks per basic attack is 1. So every time you hit somebody, that's another bleed stack. That's another 1% over 5 seconds that they are taking damage from. It's a great ability that you can use to increase your burst. If you really want to focus somebody down, you can boom Warlord's Challenge into a basic attack, into a double pain, another basic attack to try to get away, into a smash and grab, into another basic attack, into another double pain. Oh, the damage potential is really good. Plus, with that stun, I'm really thinking in this matchup, especially with the enemy Gideon, that I need to save my Warlord Challenge for the Gideon. Again, he can get above me. He can get above the effect of my Warlord's Challenge, but still, I might as well try to use it against him. Now, as a jungler, it's your job to be paying attention to the map and ganking the enemies. You can see this phase did a wondrous job of dodging my smash and grab, but they still pursue. I'm saving my charge. I don't want to use it just yet, but we do end up taking her down. So at this point, I'm going to use my Warlord's Challenge because she started using her Ice Lance, and I want that damage here to make sure that I get down these heroes, and we do. Check that out. I didn't even use my smash and grab there to make that happen a little bit quicker. You can see we've gone from our Sage's Sylphin into our ward. You need that ward as your second card. Absolutely. Next, I go into the Blood-Soaked Armor. Because it is the 10-second mark, or the 10-minute mark, we can really use the Blood-Soaked Armor against the Raptors. Blood-Soaked Armor here, what it does is, when hit by a basic attack, apply a bleed stack to the attacker. Because the Raptors hit so frequently, they get a ton of bleed stacks placed on them, and that damage over time from a high health siege objective, also works on our prime, is tremendous value. You can just destroy Raptor camps with Grux's natural bleed from his double pain, but also from Blood-Soaked Armor. Now at this point, I'm like, ooh, come close, because I can smash and grab, and that's exactly what I do into a fantastic Decker fence, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and brawl it out. I have my charge saved up, so I know that I can do that, but unfortunately, I think I get a little too, do I? Yeah, and I run out of mana. So I was trying to be a little bit too aggressive. I was trying to be like late game brawler tanky, going in the front line, but we don't have that tankiness yet. Now, Grux has great wave clear. If you stand to the side like I just did there, and you manage to get the sides of the wedge right on the melee and ranged minions, you can pretty much smash and grab the entire minion wave, do a basic attack and animation cancel with the double pain, another basic attack, boom. Clear waves, a ton, absolutely a ton. To be very effective. Now, we go into a Whirling Wand and a Adamant Edge. You can't skip the Whirling Wand if you're concerned about tankiness, but the Whirling Wand, any amount of kinetic, especially on a jungler like Sevarog or a fighter like Sevarog, goes a long way. It goes such a long way. Now at this point here, I want to dive this tower and secure these kills, and we managed to do that. Unfortunately, I did use my charge though, so I'm a little bit in trouble. We get those kills, and we're a-okay. There's a little bit of health coming in on the Adamant Edge. So, like I said, the Whirling Wand has tremendous value. That little bit of kinetic is on a lot of fighters just as good as power. Of course, it doesn't feed into their abilities, but we're gonna start being able to bruise with with the enemy team, so it's going to have so much value. At this point here, our next couple of cards, we're going to start transitioning into tankiness, which is really important. So the next cards we go into are our Guardian's Ward for that health in the early game that you really need to increase your tankiness. Health beats armor at its own game in the early game, so that's why we go for it. Unfortunately, that's a really bad engagement, and I get taken down really easily, regardless of the fact that I have my Guardian's Ward with some health on it, and this Thick Blood. Really great in today's meta to take care of phase. So now we start going into our tuned barrier because we finished all this health in our Guardian's Ward. I didn't think I needed the thermal bond. There wasn't that many stuns on the enemy team here, so the tuned barrier will do much better. Take care of the Sparrow, take care of that Gideon. Unfortunately, he went too high for my Warlord's challenge to get him out of that. So still able to clear 2 people here as I wait for Orb Prime. Again, that Blood Soaked is tremendous against Orb Prime. The damage ticks are upwards of like in the hundreds in the late game. It deals considerable amount of damage. So at this point, we have Orb Prime, another replay bug here, and we're putting the pain on the enemy team here. Now, we have transitioned into our tanky late game, and as you can see, look at that burst damage. Yeah, well, our Murdoch here is attacking, but we're doing actually pretty well. This Gideon ultimate here still doesn't end up doing much, and I still actually haven't gotten that barrier yet on the tuned barrier. I actually got the guard on this Blood Soaked because we have the health, and the enemy, as we win here, the enemy carry was actually, well, the Wukong and Sparrow. Yeah, I was hurting a lot. So I got that guard on there. Didn't get that barrier yet, but I did transition into the late game damage in order to kind of help along that guard and this tuned barrier here. The Tainted Magic, because you have double pain every 5 seconds and your smash and grab and your ultimate, Tainted Magic goes a long way. You are hands down going to be getting more value out of Tainted Magic than the power equivalent in the rest of Grux's kit. Tainted Magic can be applied to so many people, and especially if you're attacking a tank or a bruiser, 100% Tainted Magic wins out on that. Next is Trader's Touch. I've done the math for this as well, and Trader's Touch absolutely incredibly valuable on fighters due to their poor power scaling. It is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You can still be attacking somebody at a quarter of their health and it still pays for itself. So tremendous value out of this 14 CP. This 14 CP, I would not be surprised, is acting more like 20, 25, even maybe even 30 CP. So absolutely tons of value there, doing much more than you may think. Tuned Barrier or the Thermal Bond, great value. Lots of health on the Guardian's Ward. Thick Blood to counter this phase, and the Wukong and Sparrow's lifesteal, and the Chimera's regen. Oh, tremendous. Blood Soaked for that great bleed stacks you can apply on objectives. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. There you guys go. What do you guys think of this deck? Let me know down in the comments below. It worked great in this game. Really a ton of potential there. Let me know what you guys think. Any tips? Put that down below, as everybody can absolutely learn from the comments. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. If you would like to support me and what I do on a regular basis, please consider going over to my Patreon account, where you can make a monthly pledge to support what I do and reap some pretty good rewards. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive.